Imagine being able to connect your students with students and fellow Flipgrid educators around the world in order to share learning experiences and diverse perspectives in an authentic manner. Well, thanks to the community building movement Grid Pals, created by the amazing student voice ambassador Bonnie McClelland, making global connections with other classes has never been easier. One of the best parts about connecting inside grids and topics with your grid pals is that it doesn't matter if you are in the same time zone, since discussions are not necessarily taking place in real time. Instead, students and educators post questions, demonstrations of learning, tutorials, and discussion topics, and respond to posts in a timely manner suitable to everyone participating. Let's take a closer look at how we can become Grid Pals and connect with fellow Flipgrid educators and classrooms around the world. So the first thing I did was log in to my educator account on Flipgrid. And here in the top menu bar, I clicked on hashtag Grid Pals. This brings me to the Grid Pals main page. Below, I can see a brief description about Grid Pals, including a link to the epic Grid Pal guide created by Bonnie McClelland. Currently, my profile is hidden, so that means others cannot find me to connect with me on Flipgrid. Before we take a look at how to activate our profile and make those Grid Pal connections, I just wanted to point out that below you can see a map, and I'm pretty zoomed in. You can use the plus button or the minus button to zoom in and out to view more of the world. But I just wanted to point out that all of these little green Flipgrid symbols represent individual educators who I could potentially connect with as Grid Pals. Currently, the map is displaying 8,756 active Grid Pals, and that number continues to grow. Notice I can search for specific Grid Pals, and I can even filter Grid Pals based on grades that they teach, as well as subject areas that they specialize in. All right. Let's review how you are going to complete your profile, make sure your profile is up to date, and then change your status to active in order to allow other educators to connect with you as Grid Pals. So it even reminds you here on the Grid Pals main page to first make sure that your profile is up to date. You can simply click this link to go to your profile. Now, I've gone ahead and filled in my profile. I've included my full name, a brief bio, which includes just a little background about my role with Edmonton Catholic Schools. It is important that in addition to a brief description, you also identify the grade levels that you teach or work with, as well as your subject areas that you specialize in. Remember, I showed you earlier that you can actually search and filter for different Grid Pals. And two of the ways that you can filter by include grades that Grid Pals teach, as well as subject areas they specialize in. So this information is very important. Next, you're going to need to identify your location for Grid Pals. It's also a great idea to share what school district you're part of, or maybe what school you teach at. Make sure to set your time zone, as well as the country you're currently in. It's also recommended that you add your connections to your social media accounts, and you share those social media accounts with other Flipgrid educators so that they can reach out to you in order to make those Grid Pal connections. So as you can see, I've shared some of my social media accounts, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as well as I've shared a link to the YouTube channel where I frequently post tutorials as part of the MTech team. I'm going to go ahead and click Update Profile. Let's just go back to GridPals. And now it's time to click Active. The first window that pops up allows me to review my profile to make sure I haven't missed any details. I'll go ahead and click Next down at the bottom right. And it's time to get on the map. Make sure to provide your address or the name of the nearest city and select from the drop-down list in order to be pinned on the map. So I've already entered my location, and I will go ahead and click Add Me. My status is now set to active, and my pin has been dropped on the map. If I hover over those pins, I have actually found myself, and I can see a small amount of information from my Flipgrid profile, including all my social media contacts. Now that my profile is active and I am on the map, I can be searched for and other educators can connect with me, or I can search across the world and connect with other Flipgrid educators and their students in order to share learning experiences and our diverse worldviews.